So let's talk about some of the other programs, whether in the top 10, the outside the top 10. Who are some of the potential biggest movers within this team rankings you're looking at?
Yeah, Nick, can you pop up the top 10 on our screen while I speak here? Some of the big movers, obviously Texas. I mean, Texas is sitting at number 3 right now. They were outside the top 5 before the week began. Miami, look at Miami inside the top 4, tucked themselves in nicely after the commitment of 5-star offensive tackle Samson Okunlola yesterday.
Honcho.
Yeah, Miami was sitting, I think, at number 8 heading into the week, now sitting at number 4, so big move there. And then when we talk about moving out of the top 5, Notre Dame is on a slide. They started the week at number 3, looking right now, they're currently at number 6. And Notre Dame, they're holding on tight right now to 5-star Peyton Bowen. We're going to talk about him a little bit later, but if they were to lose their only 5-star commitment, you're looking at Notre Dame entering the week before signing day at number 3, potentially falling to the bottom of the top 10. So we'll have to see how this shakes out, but there's a lot of movement taking place. And then you got OU, LSU. I think both teams are threatening some flips. Like I said, we'll talk about that in a little bit. LSU also has 5-star Desmond Ricks on campus as we speak. He's going to make his decision on the 22nd.
And a lot of major changes in just the last 7 days. I mean, LSU was at number 5 yesterday, dropped all the way to number 7 after getting the commitment from a top 5 safety in Javian Toviano. How does something like that happen, Josh, for those that are still trying to make sense of the rankings right now?
Well, you got to figure, Miami landed a 5-star offensive tackle. More firepower on the board. Texas lands a 5-star. More firepower on the board. Not only are they landing 5 stars, but like Samson Okunlola is the number 3 player at his position, while Anthony Hill is the number 1 player at his position. And to take what you said on Texas at the top, Texas has 3 5-star players at each position. But they have 3 number 1 players at their given position. You have you have Arch Manning, number 1 QB in the country. You have Cedric Baxter, the number 1 running back in the country. And you have Anthony Hill, the number 1 linebacker in the country. So Texas is absolutely on a roll.
They're cooking right now, man. They're cooking at just the right time.
But JD, what comes with high-powered 5-star recruits? Expectations. So my question to you, Sark made it through year 2 at Texas. There was some rumbling, some fans, but year 3, what are the expectations are going to be high. I don't even need to say what are the expectations. What does Sark need to do in year 3 on the football field?
Yeah, I mean, this is something we're going to get into a little bit later as well, but I think when you look at Texas historically, like recruiting well for them isn't anything new. Like they're traditionally one of those teams that's right around the top 10. They had a number 5 class last year and top 15 the year before, even going through a coaching change. And so I think for Texas, you got to see the continual upward trend. Like they're on their on their 3rd full season under Coach Steve Sarkisian. So at this point in the 3rd season, you want to really see something that's a little bit more, that you can sink your teeth into. 8 wins is great, but at Texas, they're not going to be happy with just 8 wins. So I think that's kind of the story for Texas going forward. Can you see some upward progression? And signing day going to be a very big piece of that. Landing some big fish on signing day. Going to be a very important part of it. Who are some of the top guys that are still uncommitted that you're keeping an eye on as it comes to setting the table for National Signing Day?
Oh, big-time 5-star teammates James Smith and Quay Rousseau. There was some interest. I should say about a month ago it was a 3-team race. Florida was heavily involved, Auburn, Alabama. Now it looks like an in-state Alabama race for these 2. I mean, this is a big-time get for whoever can pull this combination of the 2 5-stars. James Smith, dominant defensive lineman. Quay Rousseau coming right off the edge as a stand-up linebacker. I mean, unbelievable. Then you got 5-star edge Damon Wilson. Wilson's a UGA Ohio State battle. 5-star athlete Nicholas Harbor, not deciding on early signing day, going to take it another month into February. Deuce Robinson will as well, the number 1 tight end in the country. Then you got 5-star corner Desmond Ricks. He reclassified himself from the 24 to the 23 class. Guess what? Still an elite corner, no matter the class. This one is going to come down to LSU, Alabama, and Florida. All 3 schools have hosted him on visits. Desmond Ricks at LSU this weekend. Watch the visits. See who he visits last. It's LSU. 5-star defensive lineman Mateo Uiagalelei. He's a big piece on Ohio State's board, but also USC's board. We'll see what happens with him. those are the big 5 stars that I'm watching. Those are the top 50 players, the ones that are really going to truly move the needle. I mean, we saw JVN Toviano, like you said, committed to LSU, but he's a top 150, top 200 type player. At this point, it's kind of like in school. When you have a low GPA, well, that GPA is a lot easier to move when you've only taken 2 semesters versus about 12 semesters. Now, when we've got 25 recruits in a class and you're sitting at number 8, in order to really move the needle for you, you got to land these top 100 kids if you want to see a big jump. That's what we saw from Texas. And potentially we're going to see that from LSU as well if they can land Desmond Ricks.
I mean, if they can land Desmond Ricks, that would be absolutely huge. That would be the 8th defensive back that they would land in this 2023 class. I mean, talking about being DBU, making a statement to be DBU for the future.
What is my question to you, though, what is Brian Kelly sending a message to his defensive back room by signing 8, possibly even 9 defensive backs? And I mean, seriously, what does that tell the roster?
No, I think genuinely, anytime you have a room that is full of young guys, the writing's sort of on the wall. Like, hey, if you don't elevate your play, if you don't start to ramp it up a little bit, we got a whole lot of talented cats that are itching to get on the field, and they've got the stars to prove it. So I think just it only elevates your room having good competition. But, I mean, I think if you're currently an LSU defensive back, you better step it up quick,
it's some
fast,
sort
and
of
in
a
hurry.
wake-up call.
Yeah,
it's some
for
sort of
sure.
a wake-up
It has to be. It has to be. Talking a little bit more about Desmond Ricks, with him reclassifying, this is something we're seeing a little bit more of in the modern era of recruiting. Talk to me about what goes into players deciding they want to classify or reclassify up a class and graduate early. I mean, we're seeing more of that now.
I think it is something that we're seeing because it comes with, it's the natural progression. We're already seeing so many prospects enroll early. They want to get a leg up. They want to get a head start. Now, not everybody can enroll early. As long as you have the credits to do so, anybody can enroll early. I don't think reclassifying is for everybody.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, Desmond Ricks makes it look easy. It's not easy to go from your junior year and skip your junior year, I should say, all the way into your senior year and still be a dominant player at that level. So Desmond Ricks at IMG Academy, and the whispers had been, this isn't like something that just happened in September.
Yeah.
The whispers had been, hey, if you're recruiting Desmond Ricks in the spring, recruit him as a 23 prospect, not a 24. So there was some sense that he was going to reclassify from coaches across the country.
And it's fascinating because I don't know that people give enough credit to how much a player changes from their junior season to their senior season. Like, you're still, as a teenager, maturing physically, you're getting faster, you're getting stronger, you're figuring out what your preferences are for your college. And so, like you said, it's not for everybody, but the kids that are able to reclassify, the kids that coaches say, yeah, we will take you as a 23 as opposed to a 24, freakish.
Yeah.
I mean,
there's also positions where it's easier to do it at. Desmond Ricks plays a skill position. It's a lot easier. You made a good point about maturing bodies. A lot of times, offensive linemen really don't come into their own until their senior year. I mean, you do have those 6'6", 305-pound freaks that are out there as juniors, but for the most part, coaches kind of leave that offensive board open a little bit to see who physically matures in the trenches. So Desmond Ricks does it at a position where you can do it at.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's very crucial.
It's not in every. Just because you might be a 5-star recruit in a younger class, it doesn't mean that the next thing you should do is reclassify to the class above.
Exactly. When we saw Quinn Ewers do it at quarterback, Desmond Ricks do it at corner, but in the trenches, better make sure you got your Wheaties very much so eaten and ready to go for the next level, because that is a high contact position, to say the least. But let's talk about, as a fan for National Signing Day, what should you be watching for your specific team, just as a general viewer?
If I was a fan leading up to signing day, the one thing I'd be watching is the On3 YouTube page. Make sure you're subscribed to that.
Lock it in.
That's it. No, but beyond that, if it's your team, you want to hold on tight.
Yep.
Hold on to what you've got. You've been celebrating these guys all year. You would hate to see it fall apart at the end. And what's going to happen at the end due to NIL? I think we'll talk about this a little bit later. But I don't really know which direction NIL is going to make things go. Is NIL, some of these business deals getting done, going to secure guys in their spot? Or does NIL make a business decision happen right before pen hits paper? Because, hey, numbers are numbers. I'm going to go with the numbers. So I'm interested to see. This is year 2. NIL has progressed itself a little bit further each year. I don't think we know everything when it comes to NIL, so I'm just excited to see what happens on Wednesday.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it is a totally new variable being introduced to the recruiting world. Like, now that you can pay players for their name, image, and likeness, maybe I want to go to the school that has a better NIL structure as opposed to maybe the other school that doesn't quite as much pack a punch if both things are equal. So to recap the top 10 for you, we got Bama at 1, Georgia at 2, Texas sitting at 3, moving up to 3 actually, Miami at 4, Ohio State in the 5 spot, Notre Dame just outside the top 5 at number 6, LSU at 7, Florida at 8, Brent Venables and company at number 9, and Josh Heupel in Tennessee sitting at that number 10 spot. Folks, if you didn't memorize that, if you don't have that all locked in, don't worry, because I promise you, by the time signing day rolls around, by the time the dust settles on that Wednesday, things are going to be very, very different.
I mean, just yesterday, Miami was at number 8. They land Samson Okunlola. They're at number 3. Now you got a top 3 class. All of a sudden, 2 hours later, Anthony Hill commits to Texas. They bump Miami from 3 to 4. So it is almost real time when it comes to the rankings change.
Got to watch the ticker. Got to be locked into the On3 YouTube channel. Again, make sure you're subscribed. It's a 12-month-a-year sport. We're in the sprint mode of it. We don't want you to miss out, so make sure you're subscribed.
It's worth every penny, too.
Free 99.
Yeah.
A good price point. Hey, y'all, thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of The Hard Count. Also, be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.